Paris has always had a unique way of welcoming world icons. But that day, the skies of Paris seemed to whisper in tones of love and admiration as one figure descended from a plane that had just landed at Charles de Gaulle Airport. That figure is Kim Taehyung, or better known as V from BTS, an artist who not only rules the stage, but also the hearts of fans around the world. But what makes her arrival to Paris different this time around is not just her status as a global ambassador or an international star. There is something deeper, a welcome so warm, intimate, and full of flavor given by the legendary French fashion house Celine. That morning, despite a light fog covering the runway, dozens of Celine staff had prepared in a private arrival location rarely accessed by the public. There were no official announcements in advance, no open press conferences. However, rumors that Taehyung will visit Paris in the framework of a follow-up collaboration with Celine have spread like a spring breeze. The elegant black car with Celine's official logo appeared to be waiting respectfully. When the door of the private jet opened, Taehyung stepped out in his trademark style, elegant, calm, and still charming despite wearing simple clothes. She appeared in a long dark gray coat, thin sunglasses, and a knitted scarf with a pattern typical of the Celine fashion house. As if carrying the Seoul city breeze to the city of love, her steps were steady, but her eyes and expression implied something much more personal. He seemed to sweep the gaze around, not as an attention-seeking celebrity, but as a human being longing for something familiar, the first touching moment. Maison Celine became the second home when the car drove her straight to Celine's main showroom on Rue Vivienne, Paris. The atmosphere had been transformed into a space that belonged entirely to Taehyung. The walls are filled with pieces of fashion that she has worn, ranging from runway collections of past years to limited editions that only one in the world has made for her. Instrumental music from his solo song called Slow Dancing flowed slowly from hidden speakers. The staff smiled warmly as they greeted him, not with formality, but with a sincere hug and greeting. Celine's artistic director, Hedy Slimane, even personally opened the door and greeted her in Korean. Taehyung, welcome back. In silence, Taehyung looked around. There was a small smile painted on his face. For a moment, he closed his eyes and took a deep breath. This place, it doesn't change, he said quietly before looking at Hedy and saying in a hoarse voice, "Thank you for taking care of everything." The moment sounds simple, but for the staff who witnessed firsthand, it was a recognition of an artist's heart. Celine isn't just a fashion house, it's a safe space for Taehyung. A place where he is free to be who he is, a place where his vision as an artist is heard, and more than that, a place that treats him as a human being, not just a brand or an icon. The space then turns into a place where silence stores meaning. Taehyung sits on an old wooden bench that he always chooses every time he visits Paris. There, he was silent for a few minutes, staring only at the window that showed the landscape of the streets of Paris. His face showed relief, maybe fatigue after the draft, maybe longing that finally paid off. Shortly thereafter, he grasped a piece of paper from inside the mantle and handed it to Hedy. The paper, according to internal sources, is a rough sketch of a fashion design he made himself while still in the military barracks. He called it the reflection of the night in Gangnam, inspired by the silent nights he spent in silence, away from the stage and the spotlight. Hedy just smiled and said, "I'll make it real." Taehyung's eyes lit up. Without a word, he stood up and hugged his artist friend, the second moving moment. Taehyung et silence to Paris. Late in the evening, Celine arranged a very exclusive closed session in a small fashion house in Montmartre. Few know about this place. There is no store name.
No logo.
Few people understand that it is there that Celine keeps her experimental collections, clothes that have never been shown to the public, designs that only selected spies are allowed to see. And that night, the entire space was only open for one guest, Kim Taehyung. A faint yellow light enveloped the room. An old piano in the corner of the room sings a melody from a French classic. In the silence, a small surprise awaited. On an antique wooden table, Celine has prepared a special gift, a leather book containing selected poems from French poets, translated into Korean and specially curated based on Taehyung's preferences. The title is Taehyung et le silence de Paris, or Taehyung and the Silence of Paris. Turning the first page, Taehyung finds a handwritten letter from Hedy Slimane. In the letter it is written, "To Taehyung, an artist who not only inspires fashion, but also touches time. May the silence of Paris whisper all that you have not yet had time to say. Hedy, there was no one in the room who did not shed tears." Even Taehyung's personal photographer reportedly stopped his work for a while because he couldn't hold Haru back. Taehyung himself just sat still. He turned the pages gently, and on the 23rd page, he stopped. A poem by Paul Éluard stomped his soul. It's called Freedom, and at that moment, he whispered softly, "I want to sing this one day."
No spotlights.
No commercial cameras. Only silence and the gentle voice of the artist who is meeting with his soul returned. Paris is not the only city that welcomes it. Paris, through Celine, has touched the most fragile part of her. Behind fame, there is a deep longing for the past 2 years. Taehyung has lived a life away from the stage. Conscription in South Korea required him to step back from the spotlight and lead a disciplined, reclusive, and very private life. Although it had appeared in several updates, its presence as a whole, as an artist, does feel empty. Therefore, Paris became the first place outside of Korea to truly welcome him as a person, not just as BTS. In a brief behind-the-scenes interview with Celine's in-house media, Taehyung said, "Over the past 2 years, I've learned a lot about silence. And today, Paris makes that silence speak." The sentence went viral within minutes after being quoted in Celine's official Instagram post. The ARMY, as BTS fans are called, immediately flooded the comments with words of gratitude, love, and hope that Taehyung would continue to find light in himself. A new beginning. The return of the artist, this visit was not only an emotional reunion, but also marked the beginning of a new artistic collaboration. Celine announced that Taehyung will be the guest creative curator for a limited edition collection titled Silhouettes d'Étoiles, Silhouettes of Stars. This collection, according to information, will reflect Taehyung's emotional journey during his mandatory military service, ranging from loneliness, homesickness, to the artistic freedom he regained. In a quote shared by Hedy, he mentions, "Taehyung doesn't just wear clothes. It makes the clothes speak." The collection will be released in a unique format, not only fashion, but also music, poetry, and painting. A multidisciplinary project that Celine has never done before. And who will be the main model? Only one name is called. Taehyung's last night in Paris was spent modestly. He walked along the Seine, accompanied by the nearest staff, without massive escort. Some local residents who recognized him chose not to interfere, but simply smiled and nodded. On one of the old bridges, Taehyung stopped and photographed the reflection of the lights over the river. She posted it on Instagram with a short caption, "Merci pour le silence."